Alright, what is up YouTube? This is Space Captain again with another battle report of Warhammer, Age of Sigmar, Path to Glory. Today we have the Skaven versus the Undead. We're going to have the second game of the campaign. I was playing against one of my good friends, and we decided to take the campaign from the Monsters Lair scenario to the Raise the Monolith scenario. A little bit of lore. On the outskirts of civilization between the crux of two mountains in a once lush valley that has since dried up for centuries stands a monolith erected to the gods of the warp and the god king, Nagash. A strategic plan of attacks on the many monoliths that are scattered around the old world, led by the warpstone-induced visions and whispers interpreted by the Grey Seer Yitzkrae. The dead rise to the call of their king, to strike down the cowardly Skaven as the plague furnace wrecking team gouges a large hole into the towering obsidian black stone that is the monolith. Hearing the terrible screech of a zombie dragon and the chorus of undead hiss that would roar over the land, Yitzkrae orders his demolition team to hurry in setting the bombs. Leaving the demolition team to his experts, the storm vermin raise their halberds, and snipers take aim in anticipation of the incoming onslaught. Will the undead absorb the cowardly Skaven into their ranks, or will the demolition team earn their next kilos of powdered warpstone? Death is the only thing that is certain. So, here we have the match. This is actually after the first turn, after we both moved, but you know, you can kind of see everybody. Here we have the Undead Warband. It is 3 Vargeis, 1 Bat Swarm, 2 units of 5 Blood Knights, and a Vampire on a Zombie Dragon. Over for the Skaven, we have 5 Acolytes, 10 Storm Vermin, 3 Warplock Jezzails, 1 Plague Furnace, even though it looks like a bell. There is a Plague Priest riding it. And leading the Warband is a Grey Seer Yitzkrae. Alright, so we go off to turn 1. We go ahead and roll for it. And I wind up getting the first turn for the Skaven. So, since this is basically a turtle scenario, attack and defend, I choose to go first. And I choose not really to go. I just take a couple shots. So not really much happened other than him moving and me not really doing much. Roll out for turn 2. I get to choose the first turn. So again, I choose to kind of stay back a little bit, take as many shots as possible, because I got to keep my guys, at least my general, or 10 bodies around the monolith to keep it going. So in the first battle round, I rolled off and I wound up rolling a 4. So the way that this works, to win as the monolith, you need to rack up 20 points, and the way to rack up points is you roll a d6 at the beginning of your turn, and then add 2. So in the first turn, I rolled a 4, plus 2, so now I'm at 6. So now I'm at 6 out of 20, and it is now turn 2, so I roll off for it, and I get another 4. So right now I'm at 12. On turn 2. So after I take a few shots, I do, I think, about 3 or 4 wounds to the zombie dragon with Jezzails, and with Vermintide coming from the Grey Seer, I wind up doing 1 wound to the Blood Knights in the very center. So on turn 2, he does something very interesting though. I'm ready for the pain to come. But what he does is he is having anticipation to get the double turn. So he moves his guys up here because he knows I'm not going to charge him. And, you know, he has his Vargeis off to the right. Heavy center with the Blood Knights. And then, yeah, everything is just right there. But he holds off for the double turn in turn 3. So we roll off. And sure enough, I get the first turn again. So this is kind of crazy because I roll and I get another 4. So at this point, I'm at 18 out of 20 at the beginning of turn 3. So basically, he has to wipe me out entirely, or get his units around the monolith, and for each unit that's around the monolith, roll a dice. If he gets a 6, then it's destroyed. So right now, it kind of looks like either, we're not walking out of turn 3. Turn 5's definitely not going to happen. So, with my turn, I decide, you know what? I have my general back there, and if I don't press now, I know where he's going to go, and I got to make something happen right now. I need to chaff. I need to do something. So, I push my Plague Furnace just a little bit forward into the Blood Knights. I make a really, really long charge with my Storm Vermin. I think I rolled an 8. And I got into combat with the vampire on the zombie dragon. My Globadiers just kind of stepped out a little bit, and then my Grey Seer got behind them to try and just protect him as much as possible from the onslaught that's about to happen. So the Jezzails, they're taking shots at everybody. I wound up shooting all of my acolytes at the zombie dragon, but I didn't get off a single wound, unfortunately, with the acolytes. But with the Jezzails, I wound up killing one of the Blood Knights. But he, on every turn, can regenerate a Blood Knight, so I kind of need to be killing 2 every turn to make a dent. So here we have his turn. My Storm Vermin did a few wounds, took a few wounds back. I rolled for Battle Shock and I rolled a 1, so that was pretty cool. They stayed. My Acolytes got charged by Blood Knights that were in the very center. The Blood Knights that were in combat with my Plague Furnace, envelops my furnace, they only wound up doing 1 wound to me on my turn. I think the Storm Vermin wound up taking 4 casualties, but wound up doing either 3 or 4 wounds. So, not a bad trade-off. Definitely their ability where you add +1 to their attack roll if there is a unit being attacked by them with less models than them. That's pretty cool. Kind of almost makes them sword masters, but not quite, but almost. And then the Vargeis in the bottom right make their charge into my poor Jezzails. So what he's trying to do right now is he is trying to knock out the Acolytes, he's trying to knock out the Plague Furnace, and also simultaneously knock out the Monolith. So after he's made all of these charges, he's like, wait a minute. If I don't kill the Monolith now, and you go next turn, then you win automatically because you basically just have 2 points left until it's over. I was like, huh, good point. So then we kind of talked about it for just a second, and we decided, well, let's roll for the Monolith really quick, because there's no way that he's going to destroy all of my troops in that amount of time. Basically, what we did was he rolled for his Vargeis and his Blood Knights, and they failed to destroy the Monolith. Oh, and also his Bat Swarm. So, also with his Bat Swarm, he rolls for it and does not get it. So I think he rolls like 2 3s and a 5, and he needed 6s. So then we were just kind of like, huh, well, instead of just going through all the combat, let's go ahead and just roll off for turn, and if I get the turn, then it's over, but if I don't get the turn, then, let's roll off, see what happens, because anything can really happen. So we roll off, and the Skaven get the first turn. So, very crazy, very crazy. As you can see right here, it did not look like I was winning. But since the objective was to get to 20, I wound up winning. And I wound up basically going first on every turn that I needed to. And I rolled very, very well. The most that I could have accrued on a single turn was 8. And on every single turn, I accrued 6. So that's pretty good odds. I don't really roll well very often, but I seem to roll well with objectives. So, but it was a win for the Skaven. We were able to get our demolition team with enough warpstone bombs deep into the monolith to blow it up, to shatter that big obsidian glass stone. And with the breaking of the monolith, the surviving undead hear a deafening sound only audible to them, causing them to immediately flee. So Yitzkrae did not die, and neither did the vampire and the zombie dragon. He just wound up flying away because it was the blood-curdling scream of millions of souls basically being released from Nagash's, well, from the monolith. Not necessarily from his control, but let's just say from the monolith. Alright, let's go on to the MVP. MVP, definitely the Grey Seer, as in, just for the most part, anytime a Grey Seer's in a match, it's probably going to be him. The Jezzails, they wind up definitely providing a huge distraction. They provide pressure. And I think they wound up doing about 6 wounds this game. So definitely very consistent, especially with the ability to just reach out and touch somebody. Plague Furnace, can't say enough good things about it. But the bad thing is that without Plague Monks, it really doesn't do that much damage. You really need those Plague Monks. But for the Undead, Vampire on a Zombie Dragon, definitely super scary. He can get in, he can get out, and he can stand up and fight. So it's pretty intense. Blood Knights, especially with having 2 units of them, the fact that they can regenerate a slain model, woo, that's gnarly. They can't regenerate wounds, but they can regenerate slain models. So it's pretty gnarly. And the Vargeist, again, they can get in, they can get out. They're flying cavalry for the most part, but they're flying ogre cavalry, so yeah, Vargeists are pretty dirty. Alright, y'all, thanks for watching. Comment, like, subscribe. Let us know if there's any questions about particular rules, or if we just outright did anything wrong. Just let us know. We're trying to learn just as much as you are. And thanks again, y'all. Keep on wargaming.